Hi, I'm Randolph Miller, and welcome to another segment of Bounce Around Charleston. There's a whole lot going on in our nation right now, especially in Buffalo, New York. And I have today with me Presiding Elder, the Reverend Dr. Emanuel Goff Sr., who was close with the incident that happened in 2015 at Mother Emanuel. Elder Goff, welcome to Bounce Around Charleston.
Thank you, Reverend Miller, for having me.
We brought you on because you were such close in relationship with Mother Emanuel, being that it's the leading church in the state and the leading church on your district. And we know that at that time, our bishop presently was Bishop Norris, and he was under the weather somewhat, and you were the man in charge. So tell me, with the incidents that's happening in Buffalo, New York, how does that compare with what happened at Mother Emanuel?
Well, first of all, our prayers go out to the family and communities, not only in Buffalo, but around this country where these incidents are taking place. It brings back a vivid memory of that evening when that massacre took place. The correlation between Charleston and Buffalo is that a number of individuals lost their lives at the hand of an individual, a hate crime, premeditated, planned against African Americans in a given community. It is no question in my mind that hate, not only in America, but around the world, is a learned behavior. Racism and bigotry is a learned behavior. What we learned from the Emanuel 9 tragedy is that when these things happen, it is very important that leadership from all levels, both within in the church and outside the church, that we must stand together, speak with one voice, and indicate that hate will never overtake the love that we have for our humanity. One of the challenges we have, particularly in the state of South Carolina, we need to acknowledge the fact that we need to pass a hate crime bill. It's no use in sitting on the sideline. This is not about Republican, Democrats, or Independent. This is about human worth and humanity. That's what it's all about.
Well, you know, thank you, sir. Our state representative, Wendell Gilliard, was on our show just last week, speaking about the Clemente Pinckney hate crime bill. It passed in the House, but it did not pass through the Senate. What do you say about that?
I would say that the Senate in South Carolina need to take another look and immediately go into session and pass this hate crime bill. Let me say this. When the Confederate flag came down off the Capitol grounds, it took leadership, that of the governor at that time, Governor Nikki Haley, and others who rallied and coalesced around the whole idea that this is not the kind of symbol we want to have in the state of South Carolina, even in America. So it takes leadership. And I urge the governor and the Senate of the state of South Carolina, come on, do your job, do your work. We are better together than we are divided apart. We must send the right message, a positive message, that we are prepared to stand against hate, bigotry, discrimination, any kind of discrimination. That must come with good, sound leadership.
And Dr. Goff, what would you say to the citizens of Buffalo, New York, to help them make it through this situation?
Well, first of all, the example that they're already showing, that I would urge them to continue to cross denominational lines, community lines, Black, white, brown, come together, continue to look at a positive plan. Because we have forgiveness, forgiveness does not mean the absence of justice. We must pursue justice at all levels to make sure that this situation that took place in Buffalo and other communities around the country, that we will not stand for it, that we will work together to try to put the laws on the books and make sure law enforcement carried it out across the board, but we cannot become weary in well-doing and yield to hate, yield to bigotry, yield to racism. Stand up for what we believe that is right, that will help grow our communities and make them stronger together. And I believe the citizens of Buffalo and other communities are on the right path. Let the voices rise that is willing to talk about coming together and making a difference, not just making a lot of noise and being a helicopter public relations kind of statement, but show in deeds, in action, that we are prepared to go to the next level to make sure that our communities are safe for everybody. In the churches, in the grocery store, in our malls and what have you. We need to double down on our efforts to make sure that when we find ourselves in these situations, that all hands are on deck, not just as a segment of the community, but the entire community. It's not about donkeys and elephants and independence. It's about humanity and all of us coming together, working together to make a difference.
Do you think that an incident like this will cause people to be afraid to come out and go places like the grocery store, go to church?
There's no question about it. It heightens the awareness that we are not safe anywhere, in our sanctuaries, in the mall, in the grocery stores. So what we must do is to double down with our safety protocols, both in our churches and malls and grocery stores and other gathering places, to ensure the public and also deter those who are currently planning other attacks.
You know, I think it's very notable to say that we're dealing with so much right now. We have the COVID protocol that we've got to follow. So now here we are again, being careful when we gather together in places.
Yes, we must multitask. We cannot allow hate crimes to become the normal. This cannot be normal. We all must be proactive in trying to bring about solution. We cannot normalize hate and killing and bigotry. Wherever we find it, we must root it out from the top to the bottom. The federal government, the president of these United States, governors around the country, city councils, all of those bodies that have impact in making change to safeguard the public, including our churches. You know, just like we do COVID-19, we have a protocol. There's certain things you must do. Same thing with these hate crimes and other things. And the government and others may know of groups or individuals who have the attitude toward negative behavior. We must identify it. We can't wink and nod at it. We must register it. We must call the authorities, because who knows? Just because someone makes an offhanded comment, we better start taking it seriously, because right now, as we speak, others are planning negative behavior, copycat efforts, getting attention, because they know that when they do something like this, they will get the attention not only of the country, but the world, because it's another shooting. We cannot normalize this. We should be all upset, be prayerful, and then there's a call to action. The state Senate need to pass the hate crime bill.
I stated earlier that Mother Emanuel is a part of your district. And I'm quite sure with this incident happening and the similarity to what happened in 2015 at Mother Emanuel, what will you say to that congregation? Because I'm quite sure it pushes a button for them.
Well, I've received a number of calls, not only from members of Mother Emanuel, but from around the community in the country. And what I am saying to them, as I say to myself, it is still raw, it's still the freshness of the massacre. That every time there's a shooting, every time there is a hate crime, it drags up that memory of that evening. And Reverend Miller, you're acutely aware of this, because I received a phone call from you alerting me that there was a shooting near Mother Emanuel. Then the second call was down, not near Mother Emanuel, but inside Mother Emanuel. What we must do is continue to set the example, even in our pain, even in the ongoing suffering of emotional disturbance from this massacre from 2015, still lingers fresh. But we must show the world, as we show ourselves in this community, that our faith is stronger than hate, and love overtakes hate, and standing together will overtake hate and these crimes. Yes, I know it sounds somewhat, well, we need something right now. Something right now is that we must stay together, come together, and work on solutions. I'm not looking for folk who are just looking to make headlines. I'm looking to make headways and work with those who are willing to work with the greater community to bring about what Dr. King called and others, the beloved community, where human worth is celebrated for everyone, not just some of us. And we must be vigilant about exercising our faith and our belief that this too can be changed by working together.
Reverend Dr. Emanuel Goff, Bounce Around Charleston, says, thank you, sir, for coming on and sharing this moment with us. Thank you.
Let me thank you, Reverend Miller, for the work that you're doing both in and outside of Bounce Around and the church in which you pastor. Voices like yours and others must come to the forefront to make progress, not only in our community, but communities around the country and the world. We continue to pray with the families in Buffalo and the communities around this country who's experienced something that Mother Emanuel is acutely aware with, and the Charleston community and the state of South Carolina. It all starts with servant leadership. We can pass a hate crime bill in the state of South Carolina and set the example for the rest of the country. Thank you, Reverend Miller.
You've heard it right here on Bounce Around Charleston. We'll be right back after this break.